Hi everyone, my name is Diana Nguyen. I'm one of the outreach coordinators at CalFresh Initiative at UCLA, and I'm going to be recording this about 30-minute presentation on what is CalFresh and how to apply into the CalFresh program for all of those who are curious or interested in receiving free money for groceries. Before I start, I'm just going to review what I'm going to cover. I'm going to cover exactly what is CalFresh, what's the CalFresh initiative at UCLA, the different information that you need to know to get CalFresh and receive it, and then following up with how to maintain your CalFresh benefits once you are approved to start receiving them. And at the end of this presentation, I'll talk about additional basic needs resources for the spring quarter of 2020 for all of you folks out there that need it. So, what is CalFresh? CalFresh is California's version of SNAP, which is also known as a Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, and it's a federally funded food assistance program. CalFresh or SNAP is often known as food stamps, and it's a food assistance program where a single person household can receive up to $194 a month. As a student, there are certain eligibility requirements that allow you to receive up to this $194 a month amount, and you can use this amount to buy groceries at your grocery stores like Rouse, Trader Joe's, Whole Foods, Targets, and other farmers markets. You can also use it at other grocery stores as well. Just be sure to check before you start shopping there. So, what is the difference between the CalFresh program, which is a federally funded food assistance program, and CalFresh Initiative at UCLA? CalFresh Initiative at UCLA is a student-initiated and run program under the Community Programs Office. A couple of years ago, a student and a group of her friends decided to create the CalFresh Initiative at UCLA to ease the application process for students. And in doing so, we were able to start and maintain a relationship with LA's Department of Public Social Services to work directly with their CalFresh caseworkers and students so that we can ensure that students can smoothly apply into the program or remediate any concerns or questions or conflict throughout their application and cases. So, our CalFresh office hours. We host CalFresh office hours every week, every quarter, and for the spring quarter of 2020, we're hosting them every Monday from 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. over Zoom. You can book an appointment at calendly.com/UCLA CalFresh. You can see here every Monday we have available appointment times for our office hours. You can click any time that works best for you, and by deciding to schedule an appointment with us, you'll be given about 30 minutes for us to assist you with your application or clarify any issues with your current cases. Usually, you can apply in person at UCLA through our CalFresh office hours. We have sometimes 1 to 2 caseworkers directly from the Department of Public Social Services to assist students with their applications. Unfortunately, this is no longer an option, but our student workers have been trained to help students with their application process and remediate any concerns or conflicts that you might have. Alright, so let's dive into the real meat of this presentation. Again, I'm going to break down CalFresh eligibility, the verification documents, what documents do you need in order to successfully apply into the program, and then I'll run through how to conduct the CalFresh application online. So I'm going to break down the CalFresh eligibility for undergraduate students and graduate students. For undergraduate students, these are the general eligibility requirements. So 1, regarding your residency or citizenship, you have to be a permanent resident or U.S. citizen to apply into CalFresh and receive benefits. 2, you need to not have a meal plan above 10 meals a week. So any of y'all watching this and you live in the dorms, or maybe you live in an apartment but you have a meal plan at UCLA, that's not going to work out for this, unfortunately. You have to live off campus and not have a meal plan in order to qualify for CalFresh. And for the third, student eligibility, you only have to meet one of these 4 common requirements, which is receiving either Cal Grant A or B. you have to be approved for work study on your financial aid letter. Or if you don't have work study but you have a job, you need to work at least 80 hours and make under $2,082 a month. Or you can have a child or dependent. Just to clarify, you can receive work study in your financial aid letter and not have a work study job and still be eligible for CalFresh. And on top of this, you don't have to be a California resident to apply into the CalFresh program. Out-of-state students are eligible to apply for CalFresh. There are also additional ways that you can qualify for CalFresh. There are certain programs that are exempted from these traditional requirements. And at UCLA, programs like the EAOP or Brew and Guardian Scholars are eligible to receive CalFresh as long as, again, they don't live in the dorms, they're still a permanent resident or US citizen. If you still want to apply into CalFresh but you're not sure if you meet these general eligibility requirements, feel free to shoot us an email, or you are more than welcome to apply anyway. The caseworkers will accept applications and grant CalFresh on a case-by-case basis. So don't let any of these general eligibility requirements discourage you from applying. It doesn't hurt to spend 10 to 15 minutes on an application where you could get almost $200 a month for groceries. As for graduate students, the eligibility requirements are slightly different. You still have to be a permanent resident or US citizen. B, you can't have a meal plan above 10 meals a week. Again, live off campus or in an apartment. And C, you have to either receive a work study eligibility letter, work at least 80 hours a month, and make under $2,082 a month, or have a child or dependent. Again, you only have to meet one of these requirements. In regards to your work study eligibility letters, on your EFAN or Electric Financial Aid notification, it should indicate if you're eligible for work study, and the EFAN will have a PDF hyperlinked on it. If you're unsure about your work study eligibility letters or whether or not you have one or if you would like to request one, you could submit a message through UCLA Financial Aid, and I'll show you quickly what the message center looks like. So you can just type in like UCLA Financial Aid contact, and with your UCLA login, you click here and it'll redirect you to contact submission form where you can ask any questions to the UCLA Financial Aid office, and you can send a quick message to ask if you can request that CalFresh eligibility letter or work study eligibility letter. You can also email this person down here and ask them for any clarifying questions about these work study eligibility letters. So, as you can probably tell, applying for CalFresh as a graduate student might be a little difficult just because most students don't receive financial aid or might not be eligible for those work study letters. However, our team at UCLA has been working to gradually increase the graduate student eligibility by counting some of their graduate programs as an employment or job training opportunity. In the CalFresh program, any program can be exempted from the traditional requirements like EAOP or Brew and Guardian Scholars if it is a job or vocational training program or if it serves the needs of current or former foster youth. So that's what we're trying to do with some of these graduate student programs, try to enlist them as a job training program. Currently at UCLA, we have successfully been able to get the medical education program at the David Geffen School of Medicine, the law school, the School of Nursing, and the dentist school to be exempted from these traditional requirements. If you want to learn more about programs that have been exempted, there is this list right here, and if you type in UCLA, it shows the current programs and why they can be exempted. If you don't see your graduate program listed here or in this document, we're currently working to expand the number of grad students programs that can be exempted. and we're creating a how-to guide for your financial aid office to follow through. So if you want to try to get your graduate school program under one of the exempted lists, feel free to contact us and we can tell you how to reach out to your financial aid office to have them fill out the exemption application, or we could submit it to your financial aid office as well. In terms of verification documents, so all of the eligibility requirements that I just spoke of, like being a US citizen or permanent resident, living off campus and not having a meal plan, or trying to verify that you are a student at UCLA or in a program, you need to back up this information with some verification documents. And this is a list of documents you would need to upload. For example, you need to upload your driver's license, state ID, anything that can verify your residency or citizenship. If you live in an apartment and you're paying rent, they would like to see your rent or lease agreement, clarifying maybe how much you pay on your end for rent. But you can screenshot this page for a closer look on what verification documents you need to upload as an undergraduate student. And for graduate students, it is slightly different, where if you're in an exempted program, you need to provide a letter from your school proving that you are a student, for example, under the David Geffen School of Medicine, and you need to prove your enrollment. So maybe a screenshot or list of the current classes that you're taking under your program. So that was a lot of information, but luckily this is a video, so you can rewind or forward to any part that you want to learn or hear about. Now I'm going to dive into the CalFresh application process online. It's a pretty simple process, so I'll walk you through how to fill out maybe different aspects of the application, and just making sure to clarify any questions that you might have as to the best of my ability. So the link to apply is getcalfresh.org/UCLA. It's really important that you add that /s/UCLA because this allows us, CalFresh Initiative at UCLA, to keep count of how many students are enrolling at UCLA so that we can advocate for more funding or food security efforts on campus. Cool, so let's get started with the application. So this is the webpage, getcalfresh.org/s/UCLA. To get started, you're going to click this green button over here. And this is a timeline of what this application is going to look like. So right now, I'm going to show you how to submit an application and submit proof of your situation, so these verification documents. If you forgot what those verification documents were when I was reviewing the documents earlier, you can click this button and I'll tell you exactly some of the documents that's usually required and that we are suggested to upload. After you submit your application and you submit your verification documents, usually the county will call you. So you'll receive a phone call from a caseworker from the Department of Public Social Services, and they'll ask any clarifying questions about your case. This is usually called the interview, and it's not like a job interview. They're going to ask you, why do you think you're qualified to receive CalFresh? They're just going to ask questions like, oh, you said your unit. How many units are you taking? Is this the correct address? Is there a unit number for this address? And soon after that phone call, you'll be notified through mail on whether or not you have officially qualified for CalFresh and you can start receiving benefits. Benefits will all come in the mail. So after you're approved for CalFresh, you'll get a series of letters in the mail with your case information, like your case number, your caseworker contact, as well as your EBT card, or electronic benefits transfer card. This EBT card is going to work just like a debit card, where the county or the department is going to load money every month for your CalFresh benefits, and you will just swipe it at the grocery stores, use a PIN number that the county will mail and provide for you, and that's how you use your CalFresh benefits. The benefits will reload every month, and any leftover benefits from the previous month will roll over. So, for example, if it's a couple of days before your benefits renew for the month and you have like $15 left, you don't have to worry about using up that $15. It'll roll over so that you can continue using it on top of your new month's benefits. So, this is the typical timeline for submitting an application and receiving benefits. However, because of the current pandemic, the LA Department of Public Social Services are making some adjustments to this application process. And as you can see here in this graphic, they're currently suspending interviews to help expedite the application process, meaning that they're getting rid of interviews for the time being, just so that students or anyone applying into CalFresh can try to receive their benefits as soon as possible. And with that, we'll dive into the actual application. So let's start with some basic information. I'm going to pretend that I am maybe one of the general students that come into our office hours and apply for CalFresh when going through this application run through with y'all. So where's your zip code? Let's pretend that I live in Westwood. And this is a really important part. So they ask, how many people do you regularly purchase and prepare food with, including yourself? So since you're applying for this application for yourself, you should only click just me. Even if you live in an apartment with other people and maybe sometimes you occasionally snack with each other, just apply for yourself, because otherwise you would have to provide all of the eligibility and verification documents for those people that you are including in this household size. If you are a student with a dependent, feel free to put just me or other people that you're including within your household that you prepare food with. And just for clarification, I think there's a way that you can apply for CalFresh even if you aren't a U.S. citizen or permanent resident, but your child is. And you can look up more information or email us about those eligibility requirements through our email, which I'll mention later. So for the time being, I'm just going to say that I'm preparing food for me. And this is my first time applying, so I'm going to say no to this question. Sounds good. These are just questions to gauge if there's any like special eligibility requirements for you. And I'm going to run through these really quickly. So receiving SSI, you can click yes or no. I'm going to put no. Am I 60 years or older, getting disability benefits? No. Is everyone on the application a U.S. citizen? For this application run through, I'm going to put yes. Are you a college student? Yes. This is really important that you click yes on here, because it'll have you choose the special requirements for students that I've mentioned before. So in this case, let's say that I receive work study and I receive Cal Grant B. And if you are in a job training or employment program like EAOP, or if you're in a program supporting current or former foster youth like Broom Guardian Scholars, or if you're in one of the exemption programs for graduate students, you would click this box here that you receive support from a resource or employment program that qualifies me for CalFresh. And I believe if you click here, it'll list like additional programs that are eligible, but you can also reference this list over here for student programs approved for exemption. Do you live in on-campus housing? No, I do not live on on-campus housing. And do you live with your parents? For this application run through, I'm going to put no. But if you do live with your parents, you'll be eligible for CalFresh if you're 22 or older. Unfortunately, if you're living with your parents and you're not 22, you won't be eligible for CalFresh. Now let's check if you meet the income requirements. So the reason why they're asking these questions is just to make sure that if you do have a job, are you working those 80 hours a month, and are you making less than that $2,082 a month? Or I'm going to go through this application as if I don't have a job, but I am eligible for work study and I did receive Cal Grant A or B. No. Have you lost a job? No. Did you get money from these other resources? Just to clarify, financial aid, grants, or scholarships shouldn't count in this. And how much money do you have on hand? Just a disclaimer, they're not going to judge your application based on how much money you have on hand in your wallet or in your savings. This is just a way for them, as in the Department of Public Social Services, to determine if there's anyone in extreme financial need so that they can expedite the application process. So for this example, I'm just going to put $1,000. And let's review what you told us about the income of your application. On hand, I have $1,000, which should look correct. On this page, it calculates everything that I've provided in terms of my potential income, and they've calculated that my pre-tax income is $0, so that's under this $2,082 threshold, and I'm eligible for CalFresh. I'm going to go back real quick and fill out this part as if I did have a job. So, do I have a job? Yes. In the past 30 days, did I earn income from freelance? No. If you put yes, you would just have to provide how much you're making from that freelance job. Do I get money from other sources? No. So now they're going to ask how many jobs do I have and to report what my pre-tax income looks like. So for this example, I'm going to maybe include my job at CalFresh. I can provide the exact amount. I can provide an hourly wage. So let's say pre-tax earnings from the last 30 days. Let's say maybe I make like $600 a month. Tell us how much you'll earn going forward. You told us you earned $600 in the last 30 days. Do you think you'll make less money this month? Yes or no? This depends on your situation. And this is actually a new change into this CalFresh application because they didn't ask this question beforehand. I think they're asking this question because of COVID-19, and some people might have different hours or monthly wages or paychecks because of maybe a decrease in the work hours. So it's really great that they included this. I'm going to put yes for this time being. Let's say still make $600, but if you are making less money, I think they're taking this into consideration throughout your application process and eligibility. And you can share maybe like your current situation down here. And we'll keep this the same. So again, to calculate my pre-tax income, luckily I'm under the income threshold. Woo! I'm eligible for CalFresh. Let's move on. So I'm just going to speed through these questions. How much do I pay for a mortgage? Let's say I make $600 a month and that goes all towards my rent. Do you pay for utilities? Let's just say I pay for phone, heating, cooling, and water. This looks correct. So now we're going to provide our personal information, just so that the department can contact us and determine which office we are going to be given a caseworker from depending on our address. So let's pretend I'm Josie Bruin. I was born, I don't know, 1998. For this question, you don't have to provide your social security number. Feel free to skip this question. But if your social security number is needed or required, the department would have called you for your interview and asked you to provide that information. In the case of COVID-19, we're not going to be doing interviews. You won't have to provide your social security number. So feel free to leave this question blank if you want. What's your phone number? Let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, cool. I think that worked. Oh wait, 0. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0. Let's use Josie Bruin at UCLA.edu. What language do you prefer? I'll put English, but just to go back real quick, what language do you prefer? They have different languages for those phone calls with the caseworker, or if you need to call the department. So you could choose what your preference is. What is your current living situation? For some students, you might be renting your own apartment. You can even account for those of y'all who are temporarily staying with friends or family, maybe in general or because of COVID-19. If you are experiencing homelessness, sure, you can consider that as well. Or you can say that you prefer not to say what your current living situation is. The only reason why they are asking you to clarify if you live in a car shelter or homeless shelter, or if you are homeless, that allows you to use your CalFresh benefits or EBT benefits at some restaurants in LA. So there's I think like a fast food CalFresh program where restaurants like Taco Bell, Carl's Jr., McDonald's, most fast food restaurants that you can think of, if you are eligible to partake in that program, you can use your CalFresh benefits at those fast food restaurants because you might not have a kitchen or a place to prepare meals with groceries that you might buy from the stores. So in this case, I'm just going to say that I rent or own my own apartment. What's the name of my school? UCLA. What's my street address? I don't know, 330 Charles E. Young Drive. What city do I live in? Los Angeles, 90024. Is this the best address for you to receive mail for the next 3 months? So fill this out depending on your situation. If you are living in a different household or your living situation is different from what it might look like in 3 months, definitely use a different address. The reason why they're asking this is because, like I mentioned earlier, if you are approved for CalFresh, they're going to notify you in the mail. They're going to send you your CalFresh benefits EBT card in the mail, that PIN code in the mail. So you won't be able to utilize your benefits if you are approved or know that you're approved if you can't check the mail or have a mailing address to put down here. So in this case, I'm just going to pretend like this address is my mailing address, but feel free to use a different one. You can even use maybe like your parents' address or an address that you trust where you can access or like have mail sent to for you. How many people live in your household? For this question, I'm just going to put 1. Would you like CalFresh reminders throughout the application process? Why not? Great. Oh my gosh. Wow, I hope Josie Bruin at UCLA.edu was not a real email because they're going to get a confirmation email soon. Do you want to designate someone to help with your CalFresh application or benefits? For this, you're going to put no because we're hopefully you'll be spending CalFresh benefits for yourself, but if someone else is going to be spending it, feel free to check yes and clarify who that might be. So this is the part of the application where you can clarify your situation regarding maybe like if you didn't meet the common requirements and you still want to apply for CalFresh, you can clarify that here. A common clarification might be like out-of-state students who are going to school at UCLA. They might not get Cal Grant A or B or work study. They're not eligible for Cal Grant A or B work study. but because of how high the out-of-state student tuition is, they're self-supporting, working 2 or 3 jobs to try to support their education and their basic needs. You can clarify this here, and the caseworker will take that into consideration when reviewing your application. Okay, so I'm not going to move forward with the rest of this application just because if I were to submit or move forward with this application process, I am going to have this application sent to the department so that it can officially be reviewed. And this is just a fake test application that I don't want them to spend their time on. But once you continue moving forward with this application, you're going to be asked to upload these verification documents. And if you have any questions on how to find your pay stubs, for students working at UCLA, they can be accessed through UC Path. If you receive paychecks, you can take pictures of them and upload those photos online or through your phone as well. So if you have any questions regarding the rest of the application process, or if you need some clarifying questions on how to submit those documents, definitely email us. I can't show you how to move forward with the verification documents, but I can show you how to move forward to make sure that you can maintain your CalFresh benefits if you are to receive them. So you go through this entire application process, you submit your documents, woo, you have CalFresh, yay! Now that you started receiving benefits, you want to make sure that you maintain your benefits for the next 6 months or 1 year. And to do so, at the 6-month mark, first of all, you need to update your information to the department regarding any changes in your income, address, or household size. This 6-month update is called the SAR-7, and this is just for the department to know if there's any changes in your income. For example, if you got a new job or an increase in pay, maybe you moved houses or apartments and you need to change your address so that you can properly get the new mail. This is what this 6-month mark is for. After 1 whole year, if you would like to continue your benefits for another year, you would have to fill out a recertification process, which is basically kind of updating your information, and then you'll get a phone call from the department for your annual recertification interview. If you have any additional questions about this, feel free to email us again. Alright, and in terms of trying to check up on your case, so if you start receiving benefits and you want to learn more information about your case, like how much money you're receiving for the month, any updates that the county is sending out to you, you can go to YourBenefits.laclrs.org. And this is just a website where if you want to or need to, you can submit additional verification documents, you can see updates on your case, and look into case information on the YourBenefitsNow portal. So I'm going to show you what that looks like. This is the YourBenefitsNow portal, and if you were to log in, you can check information like your caseworker contact or how much CalFresh you currently have in your account or case. You can also do the same thing through the LADPSS mobile app, which is available for iOS and Android devices. And this is what it would look like. For example, if you were to log in to this app with your case information, you can check how much is currently in your EBT card before spending money at the grocery store, just to check and budget how much you need to spend during that grocery trip. And last but not least, we have additional basic needs resources that is being offered during the spring quarter at UCLA. Some resources include meal vouchers provided by the Economic Crisis Response Team, and eligible students can receive meal vouchers to use up in the dining halls at UCLA. And by dining halls, I mean the takeout restaurants like Ronde or Brewing Cafe. In regards to housing, the Economic Crisis Response Team provides emergency housing to students facing an economic or financial or housing crisis. And if eligible, you can be placed into temporary housing at the dorms up on the hill for at most 14 days while we try to figure out a new location for you, or just to give you time to transition to a new housing situation. For all of those renting right now, LA's Department of Water and Power is not going to be shutting off any utility services during COVID-19. So if you find yourself struggling or unable to pay your water and power bills, don't worry about it. They won't put a late fee on your bills. You can take your time to pay for it, or the payment will be postponed for a later time. In addition, the Basic Needs Committee and Graduate Student Association are providing basic need grants and hardship funds for students or graduate students in general. If you would like to learn any information about these resources or learn about any additional resources regarding food, housing, or financial programs, you can visit this link right here, which will redirect you to a Google document. And thanks for sticking around, y'all. I know this was a very long video, but if you have any additional questions or want to just give us a shout out, feel free to email us at calfresh@cpo.ucla.edu for any of your CalFresh questions, inquiries, or comments. Also, feel free to follow us on our social media on our Facebook or Instagram. Those are the platforms where we post the latest updates regarding CalFresh in LA or CalFresh at UCLA, such as our office hours. Thanks again. I hope y'all are staying safe and staying sane, and I hope this video was helpful.